most people intend on buying back their time when they become wealthier and more successful. Why is it the case that so many successful and wealthy people suffer with more busyness and chaos rather than less as they keep on growing?
I mean, my experience was I was so scared. My first company that finally worked, I just started young. I was 17, I think, when I started first company. You know, and there's always like the projects, how many domains do you own? Let's put those aside, but corporations. So I went through 2 failed companies, 17 and 19, that left a scar. And it wasn't until I was 23, I decided I'm going to do this again, try something different. And in the first year, finally got traction, like did like 900 and some thousand in year 1, which is like blew my mind. The problem was I didn't know why I was successful. So I was running around spinning plates. And I only had one tool, which is essentially work my butt off. Like when I say 100 hours a week, there was no leisure, there was no travel, there was nothing. It was, I don't want this to implode yet again. I don't actually know why it's working. And I'm going to keep doing what I do.
Terrified of failure.
So, so terrified. Like,
well, you become, so I have never understood the sentence, people aren't scared of failure, they're scared of success. Until I heard you say, the reason that people are scared of success is that they have a higher point to fall from now.
Yeah.
You go, okay, so it's still failure.
It's failure.
It's just failure from a higher altitude.
Yeah. A perceived failure of attainment of something. It's either where I'm at and I fall down, and really it's, I'm not scared of winning. I'm scared of what I'd have to get. I'm scared of having to renegotiate the new standards at that level with everybody in my life. Because that's what happens with success, is that you start worrying about, like, it's like if you lose weight. Like most people don't even want to lose weight because then they got to keep it off, because if they put it back on, then they fail. So it's easier to just maintain what they got. Like, I don't want 10 million. And like, what's funny is the language they use. They actually like poo-poo it. They like, it's not about this stuff. You know, it's like, I'm not a car guy. I hear all this stuff and I'm like, no, it's actually a lot of fun driving around in a fun car. Like, so don't say you're not a car guy. You're telling yourselves these stories so you don't have to attain, because if you do, then you're going to have to ask yourself, like, what's this new level of responsibility? What's funny is that most people, when they start, and I know this is true for me, when I started, the mental model I had about success was actually I was way more driven. It's when I got up the mountain and I was halfway and I had something to lose now, I started getting scared and acting out of, trying to protect. So I call that the big dog syndrome. When you become the big dog amongst your peer group, it feels good, but you know inside you're just not there. And honestly, I want to say this about your pod. Like, what I love about what you've created is you continue to push. Like, you push, dude. Like, it's really cool from outside watching, because I'm like, oh no, this is a guy that cares about the craft. And there's no, like, if anything, every resource you get, you're like, how do I pour it back in? And I think I didn't have that when I started. It was something that I think I had to develop to respond to some of my desires and honestly do the work and be honest with myself. But yeah, I think everything is like, pain of fear. And then there's, if you're lucky, you get to a place where you get pulled forward from a desire to do something bigger. And that's a different energy, right? There's a dark energy of like moving away from pain. And then there's a light energy of moving towards some level of creating something that's never been created before.
Yeah, I think if you don't ever learn to let go of that fear of failure, as you become more successful, the fear grows rather than diminishes because of that.
It's a dirty energy.
Yeah, that higher altitude that you